1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I think we're live and people are starting to roll in. So welcome everybody to the kickoff session for Cloud Go-to-Market XP. We'll probably say this a few times as we warm up. We're going to start at about 2 minutes after. So Dillon and I will probably chat a little bit while we're here. And as always, like, we're big fans of the chat. So feel free, like, if you want to warm the chat up. I see some tacklers already doing that. Thank you, Erica, for kicking it off. If you want to say where you're joining us from, we'd love to see it. I'm joining from Buffalo, New York, and Dillon is joining from
Boise, Idaho.
Yes.
The B towns of Cloud, Boise and Buffalo.
B towns of Cloud. While we wait, I will get the screen share rolling just to make sure we don't have any issues. There we go. All right, we got some Kansas City. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see some friends already in the chat. We were just talking, it's a sad day. I have to wear my readers to be able to see the slides. Like, it's, I fought this moment for years, but we're having a funny chat about trifocals. Like, it makes you feel like you're underwater.
Tackle has aged us.
Yes. We have a little walk down memory lane in here. It's been a fun 7 years already, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, hard to believe it's been that long. It feels like yesterday and in a whole lifetime all at once.
Yes. All right. It's 2 minutes after. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. Really excited to kick off Cloud Go-to-Market XP. My name is Jahnke, and I'm CEO of Tackle, and I'm joined by...
Hey, everybody. Dillon Woods. I'm the founder and CTO at Tackle.
All right, awesome. So we are going to get into it. So our agenda for the kickoff session, there's really 4 things we're going to focus on. First is, just an overview, what you'll learn over the next couple days with some highlights of sessions. We'll talk about what's happening overall in go-to-market, because a lot has changed, not only since we got started in 2016, but especially over the last year. We'll talk about state of cloud go-to-market and what's happening as we double-click into cloud go-to-market. And lastly, what we're doing from a platform standpoint to bring that to life. So first and foremost, some housekeeping items. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Microsoft, AWS Marketplace, and Google Cloud, for all their support of this event. Not only supporting the event to help make it happen, but joining us with amazing content and amazing speakers to help educate all of you on how to continue to go to market with all of them, as well as the support from partnership leaders as we put this event on. If you're having any trouble, you can reach out to marketing@tackle.io. I talked about questions. You can ask questions in the chat. Our head of marketing, Nicole, will also help make sure we see those. We'll try to answer them along the way if we can. If we can't, we'll come back to them. We're going to join the speaker lounge at the end of the session. So if anybody has questions we don't get into during the session, you can join the speaker lounge. Dillon and I will be there to hang out for a bit. If you need to duck out, no worries. All of this will be recorded. You'll get all the recordings immediately following. If you want to share the goodness on social, we always welcome that. And lastly, we will do a trivia question at the end of this session. And the first to answer that question will get a prize, and the answer will be done in chat. So what will you learn at this event? So, over the next 2 days, you'll hear from, honestly, the greatest collection of cloud go-to-market expertise in the world. And I want to take a minute just to thank all of our speakers at this event. One of my personal favorite things about working at Tackle is we get to partner with ISVs of all shapes and sizes, from seed stage startups up to some of the largest software companies of the world, as they think about evolving how they go to market with the clouds. And over the next 2 days, you'll hear from leaders of companies of all shapes and sizes with practical experience building and scaling their cloud go-to-market. And I can't thank this group enough, not only for their partnership, but also their willingness to share their stories and their learnings from this journey. Because sometimes when you're an individual in a company who's driving the strategy, it can feel a little lonely, like as you're trying to launch a new go-to-market. And I think it's been amazing to see some of the leaders who got started at the same time Dylan, Brian, and I did, as well as more broadly as people have joined the cloud go-to-market journey over the last 7 years. So if you have learnings, feel free, like ping us. We'd love for you to join us at one of these events in the future if you want to share them with others. So
yeah, absolutely. You know, it's really fun to see how this evolves, and to see even now people are starting to have job titles related to cloud go-to-market, which is so fun to see. It's been something that was kind of a side job for many alliance managers into something that is that's much bigger and a much bigger part of what people are doing. So that's awesome. And yeah, the slides were looking a little small, but it looks like John's been able to
yeah, I
fix that a
think
bit. So
I think I've
thank you,
got
John.
them fixed. So Dylan, for some reason
Cool. Yeah, much
your
better.
mic's a little choppy again. I don't know what happened there, but
Mhm.
maybe
Okay.
like we can figure that out in parallel. So, all right. So we'll just do a quick highlight on some sessions. So first and foremost, we have cloud provider and sponsor sessions. So you'll hear from AWS, Microsoft, and Google both today and tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a specific session that dives deeper into channel plus cloud with Optiv and AWS Palo Alto, facilitated by our other co-founder. Lastly, you'll hear from the CEO of partnership leaders, and they'll be talking about ecosystem-led growth in partnership with the CEOs of Crossbeam and Pavilion. So thanks again to all of our sponsors. Second, what's going on? Okay. Second, for those who are just getting started on the journey, we have sessions more focused on you. And here's a summary of some of those sessions. You can hear from ZoomInfo and Dell and Sysdig and Wiz, Outreach, ClickHouse, NetApp, and more. So those are sessions over the next 2 days for people just getting started. For people who are past getting started and are looking at accelerating their growth, we have these sessions over the next 2 days. And all of these are loosely categorized. Feel free to look at the session catalog. There's some amazing content in there. A lot of these sessions focus around co-sell and marketplace and how those two things come together, getting your sales teams and sales orgs really excited, broader ecosystem strategies. And you can hear from Laceworks and PartnerTap, HashiCorp, Security Scorecard, Starburst, CrowdStrike, VMware, StarTree. And then lastly, for those who are thinking about scale, like real scale, we have a whole grouping of sessions around scale and growth, which ties much more broadly to getting company level alignment around how cloud go-to-market fits in. And thanks again to all of our speakers across the entire cloud go-to-market ecosystem. All right. So what's happening in go-to-market? So the state of go-to-market for B2B companies, I think the simplest way to say it is it's complex. And buying and selling software is more complex than ever. There's more tools available than ever before. I had a slide last year that had the whole sea of tools in the go-to-market landscape, but I think many on this call are very aware of that. And there's no one way to go to market. You may start with one way, whether it's product-led or sales-led or ecosystem led. There's a lot of different ways to start, but as you scale, you'll evolve with many ways over time. And great product is table stakes. And as you scale, the scale of your success is ultimately defined by your ability to go to market, not only at scale, but efficiently. And there was this first wave of transformation in digital selling that was driven really by the pandemic. And now we're seeing almost this second wave of sales transformation that is being driven out of this shift out of the growth at all costs era into an era of productive growth. And I talk to a lot of different software companies, and in general, you hear feedback that buying processes are slowing down. It's harder to sell than ever before. Existing contracts are being scrutinized, and many companies are growing slower than they expected. So while a lot of companies are rationalizing their system to this new normal of productive growth, you can't cut your way to growth. And all companies are looking for more ways to win, more ways to help their buyers solve problems, more way to help their sellers sell and win and meet their buyers where they want to buy. Cloud go-to-market, ecosystem-led growth, revenue intelligence are all loosely coupled contributors to this next generation of sales, which we refer to as digital selling. And ultimately, we think that we're in the earliest days of this innovation era around go-to-market, and we'll continue to see this space evolve rapidly over the next 5 years. And we're really excited to be leading the cloud go-to-market segment of that market transformation. Dylan, how's your mic?
I hope it's okay. I tried a little refresh there, so
Okay, great. Awesome. All right, so let's double click into the state of cloud go-to-market. And I said we do a little history walkthrough. Taggle was born in 2016 with the hypothesis that the clouds would change the way that software was sold, and that it was difficult. And software companies really wanted to focus their time and energy on building products that delighted their customers and generated value for their buyers, and not on building software to sell software. And we spent the first year of the company really focused on listing and helping people get launched on their cloud go-to-market. But as we worked with our customers, we pretty rapidly saw people go from, some people go from zero to at scale success in really short order, and others struggle on that journey. And we spent a lot of time trying to figure out, well, why? Why were some people so unbelievably successful? And why did others struggle? And we started to really break the problem down to think more, not just about launching, but about what the pipeline for cloud go-to-market could look like, as well as how you align cloud go-to-market with your existing market. And that's really, over the last year, we created this term cloud go-to-market, and we've really tried to become the cloud go-to-market company that looks at this much more broadly. And we'll talk a lot about what that means, both from a data standpoint, a co-sell standpoint, a marketplace standpoint, how those all come together to help you scale revenue fast. But it's been amazing to be part of this industry evolution and help hundreds of software companies as they go on this journey. And I do think it's still the earliest days. So I'm going to geek out on some data that I know many people love when I geek out on data, and some people don't. But so the clouds are growing fast. We think like software and cloud budgets, when you add them together, it's greater than $1 trillion. And that's a huge opportunity. And I'm going to walk through this, and this won't go in order of the way the slide is. It goes in the way my brain works. So the clouds are growing faster than ever before. There's $500 billion of B2B of cloud spend, growing 18% year over year. That's $90 billion of incremental budget this year. And AWS, Microsoft, and GCP make up a major portion of that $500 billion. And that's the fastest growing segment at 37% growth. And the B2B software industry is approximately $755 billion, and it's growing at about 10% year over year. And this is really the opportunity zone for cloud go-to-market. The current prediction around how many dollars are flowing through cloud go-to-market is about $15 billion, and of that $755 billion, or roughly 2% of the B2B software spend. And that 2% is growing at nearly 100% year over year. And when we do our State of Cloud Marketplace report, the most common answer we get from ISVs is they expect to drive 10% of their revenue through the clouds this year. And when we first looked at that, I remember we were on a call and Dillon and I were sifting through the data, and we're like, is 10% a lot? And we had this debate. And at first I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a lot. But then you start unpacking it. You're like, okay, a $10 million ARR company, 10%, it's probably the first meaningful channel. For a $100 million company, 10 million in ARR, like it's probably their fastest growing channel, one of their most strategic channels. For a $1 billion company at 100 million in ARR, it's probably the largest channel in the world that has global reach and is powered by the budgets of the cloud. Those are really, really interesting. And as we look at co-selling and marketplace starting to come together, we actually think that there's an opportunity for these numbers to continue to accelerate. And we always think about like this co-sell factor. Like a lot of our customers will co-sell many more deals with the clouds than they execute on through marketplace. And sometimes that number is 5 to 10 times. And if you imagine a 5 to 10x acceleration of some of these numbers, these data points could grow really, really fast. So, and I wanted to look at this from a different lens, and this is from Canales, who's a thought leader in channel and go-to-market from an analyst standpoint. And they published really what I think is a complementary report. And it reinforces a lot of the details we've seen from other directions. And they said they 2x their previous forecast because they missed the first time around. They underestimated how rapidly this movement could happen. And So why do we think things are going to continue to accelerate? First, I think we talked about from a seller standpoint, co-sell and marketplace are coming together, and that's a huge factor in this. But really, from a buyer perspective, I want to look at it from the buyer lens as well. The ability to use cloud commitments for third-party software was the number one answer in our last Day of the Cloud Marketplace report for why buyers wanted to buy this way. And cloud budgets are durable. They're multi-year in nature, which gives the buyer a lot of flexibility, especially when budgets are unpredictable during these economic times. I think a second part, simplifying vendor management, especially like there's some stats around the number of software companies, and there are hundreds of thousands of software companies today, growing to 1 million by 2027. And whether those are the exact numbers or not, we all see like the dramatic expansion in the number of software titles that companies use. And this is really hard for buyers to be able to manage. And the opportunity to simplify vendor management and do more with less, or enable innovation without procurement being in the way, it is really powerful from a buyer standpoint. And this ties to that last benefit around accelerating time to value. Just like no software company wants to build software to sell software, no buyer wants to waste time procuring software to solve business problems. So if we can help them do those things faster as a collective, it allows them to get to delivering more value to their business than ever before. Maybe pause. I don't know if there are any questions along the way. It looks like there might be.
I haven't seen any questions come in, John. But yeah, if anybody has one, throw one in the chat, and I can shoot them out to John.
Okay, sweet, awesome. All right, so I want to shift gears and talk a little bit about the 5 steps to a successful cloud go-to-market. So this movement is here, and it's working, and it's accelerating. It's good for buyers and good for sellers. So how do you really take advantage of this movement? And this has changed over the last 3 to 5 years. So we see there being really 5 key steps to building a successful cloud go-to-market. And first and foremost, it starts with your strategy. And what strategy means, it's alignment at an executive level. It's alignment with your product team. It's alignment with your go-to-market team. It's focused people investment, focused technology investment, all around the better together story with cloud. And this is an area, over the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of ISVs launch their cloud go-to-market, some with amazing success, some have struggled. And we see people coming back to this strategy question and saying, okay, where am I at against that percentage of revenue flowing through the clouds? Am I at 2%? Am I on the journey to 10%? If I'm not, why? And being able to go back to your strategy and look at your strategy holistically with new capabilities that are available today that weren't available in the past can allow you to take a fresh launch towards accelerating revenue. And I saw someone comment about private offers being the best plan. I do think we see private offers as still a key component. We have some product-led growth sessions over the next couple of days, which we'll talk about. And there's a lot of interest in enabling click to purchase in marketplace. We do see that as a movement, but private offers are still a primary mechanism for a lot of our ISVs. So the second part of the journey is really powering it with data and being able to analyze your pipeline for the right fit deals. And we'll double click into a few of these on the next couple slides. The third part is connecting through co-sell. So if you think about, I want to analyze all of my pipeline in Salesforce and be able, or inside of CRM, to be able to make decisions about the best opportunities to go on a cloud go-to-market, then I want to be able to engage with the cloud providers around how to accelerate those opportunities. That's really where co-sell fits in. So being able to identify, co-sell, and then execute on your transactions through marketplace. And then last thing, how do you scale your operation? Because like for all of these, it's not about the launch. It's not about starting with data or starting with co-sell or starting with marketplace. It's really about scale. And how do you integrate these new capabilities into your go-to-market systems for repeatable use across the entire company? So I'm going to double click into subcomponents. And I mean, first, knowing who to sell to is key for the majority of sellers. And, 38% of sellers said they really didn't have confidence in understanding who their prospective buyers were to buy through Marketplace. And this was a problem. I remember one of our early customers, Dillon and I were spending some time, and they were having success with Marketplace. And we were talking about these concepts of Marketplace and co-sell coming together. And I remember asking, would they share their pipeline with us? Because we thought we could help them analyze and make these decisions. And I'm like, no, why would we ever do that? That doesn't make sense to us. And that was 5 years ago. And fast forward to today, everyone is looking for more intelligence, to be able to embed intelligence into their sales process. And we've created ways to accomplish that. And, again, as you're starting to scratch the surface on that 2% of revenue or trying to get to 10%, data will be the fuel for your focus. And focus is key to early success and early scale. So Dillon's going to spend a lot more time on what this looks like in reality later on, but I'll pause there and see, Dillon, any comments about this?
Yeah, we also have some stories we'll talk about later. People who've done this and who have seen success, which is super fun. But yeah, I think that that data is like a key part of driving a lot of these cloud go-to-market strategies.
All right. So the next part is the power of knowing who to sell to. And, once you understand who your best targets are, you can make decisions about who to sell with. And there's a lot of content around co-sell and Marketplace during this event. And co-sell is how you scale your cloud pipeline. Data helps you target. Co-sell helps you mature your cloud pipeline. And if we click into this from a cloud go-to-market operating model standpoint, there's really 3 go-to-market workflows that exist when you're thinking about scaling cloud go-to-market. And the first centers around that identifying deals inside of your CRM. And this is really where that data component sits. The second workflow really fits in this middle section, and they got all kind of lumped together. Some of it's sharing deals or identifying the deal types that make sense to share. The second's aligning, like how you align with your cloud sellers in order to move deals through your pipeline stages. And the last is managing that pipeline, your cloud go-to-market pipeline, ultimately to get to this point where you're transacting and you're closing wins, all of this powered by Marketplace. This is a slightly different view of that cloud go-to-market flywheel that looks more at it from a workflow standpoint, but we continue to think about both. How do you power the flywheel? How do you power the workflows? And Dillon will talk more about the personas of cloud go-to-market as we talk about how co-sell and Marketplace come together from a platform standpoint. Okay, so pursuing excellence in cloud go-to-market. How do you pursue excellence? And it's really, how do you, some of this is activating co-sell, and a lot of this ties to what is your brand with the clouds? What's your brand for your sellers? What's your brand for your buyers? What's your brand with the clouds? And so much of your story starts with that strategy. What is your better together story with the cloud providers? Once you have clarity around your better together story, you can start small and be really prescriptive. I think we see a lot of people try to go too big, too fast, go too wide, too early. And doing that will only stall your momentum. The earliest deals, the earliest wins, the earliest opportunities you put through that flywheel will really help you accelerate your scale and build the stories of scale. The next part around excellence is operating with transparency. And we have a lot of conversations with ISVs around what does this look like? Some people are concerned about sharing their opportunities with the clouds, whether it's for competitive reasons or just even, I'm not sure. I only want to share the things I absolutely know are going to close. And then others are trying to put too much out there where they haven't fully refined what their strategy is and what the ideal customer profile for cloud is for them. And you have to figure out how to operate with that transparency, engage actively, which is likely beyond your initial where you know you're going to win, but maybe not all of your pipeline, something in between, and be able to take full advantage of the system in that way. And this comes down to discipline. This is a new business for most people. We have customers who are doing major percentages of their revenue through cloud go-to-market, but for most of our customers, they're somewhere in that 2 to 10% journey. And just like when you're measuring your existing business, you want to measure and track and communicate about this business independently. You want to establish the discipline of running this as a business. You want there to be high quality pipeline for your cloud go-to-market, just like you want high quality pipeline for your company. Another key to cloud go-to-market excellence is around not siloing. And I think this is another area we saw early sellers sometimes get stalled out, where they would have a small tiger team that would focus on getting an initial deal or an initial win, and they wouldn't take it broadly across the organization. And at some point in time, if you get that initial success, you have to enable your entire company to understand how to take advantage of co-sell and marketplace. And for golfers out there, I sometimes use this golf analogy. It's, cloud go-to-market's not every club in your bag, but it's the 7-iron. It's the club you'll play regularly. It's something you'll be really comfortable with. And 5 years from now, we think every rep inside of every software company will know how to sell and win with the clouds. Lastly, you have to vocalize your wins. And this is key at all stages of the journey, from the earliest stages to getting your first deals, to scaling in partnership with the clouds, to scaling across your seller ecosystem. You need to be able to vocalize your wins, why there's benefit for your buyers, why there's benefit for your sellers, why there's benefit for the clouds, and tell those stories consistently. Any chatter? We good to keep rolling?
Yeah, I think we're good to keep going. I guess some good comments. That though, I definitely want to come back and hit on a couple of those points during my section.
Okay, cool. All right. So why did you initially decide to list on cloud marketplaces? And most of this audience is ISVs, and everyone here wants to figure out how do they scale their revenue, not only through the clouds, but they want to scale their revenue as a company. And I wanted to bring it back to the data that was specific to this community. So why did you kick off your cloud go-to-market journey in the first place? The number one answer is to unlock the power of co-sell. Second, to advance your partnership with the cloud providers. Third, access the cloud budget. Fourth, sell faster. Fifth, open new channels. Sixth, streamline procurement. As this was from last year's State of the Cloud Marketplace report. We're just about to kick off this research again right now. And the more we hear from you all, the better the data we can share relative to what's happening in cloud go-to-market. But I think 2 years ago when we did this survey, the number one answer was easy access to budget. And it's been amazing to see how, as marketplace and co-sell continue to come together, continue to be more complementary, whether it's two sides of the same coin, the peanut butter and jelly of cloud go-to-market, co-sell has risen in the ranks as far as value prop to ISVs relative to cloud go-to-market. So before I transition to Dillon, I wanted to take a minute first to thank you all for being here. This session, actually, I blocked my calendar to listen to all the sessions over the next 2 days. And these are like two of the most exciting days of the year for me and most of Tackle, being able to hear from our customers and our partners, share what's happening in cloud go-to-market. And this would not happen without, one, all the participants joining, two, all the speakers taking time to curate and share their stories. So I said it at the start, this is the single greatest collection of cloud go-to-market leaders in the world over the next 2 days. And I'm really excited to hear all the content and stories. And I think, cloud go-to-market is not a set it and forget it initiative. You don't just get listed quick and revenue comes. You really have to be strategic. You have to be intentional. You have to be committed. And we've learned so much over the last 5 years. And I'm really excited for the community to share their wisdom more broadly, so we can help everyone sell more, sell faster, and sell more productively than ever before. So before we transition, any other questions? And we'll have time at the end for questions as well. All right.
Looks all good for now, John.
Great.
Cool. So as we get started here, I've heard my audio sounds a little bit choppy. So if it gets too bad, maybe John could give me a signal and I'll try turning off my video. But we'll give it a shot for a second. So what I really want to do is to talk a little bit more about our product. I want to talk about the way we think about the product and the way that we're building a product to support cloud market strategies. So first, I'm going to share our overall architecture and the way we align our product and engineering teams. And then I'm going to go through a few recent success stories in the product and to share a few things that are coming really soon. So first, you can't really have a cloud go to market without the clouds. We support the 3 biggest hyperscalers out there. And what we want to do is to give you choice about who you're selling with, and over time to quickly iterate on your strategy, because we think that which clouds you're selling through is often going to be driven by your buyers. Buyers are going to ask to buy your software, and they're going to request a certain cloud because that's where their commitments are. So you might start by creating a strategy with one cloud who you partner with, but then when a buyer comes, they may ask to go through a different cloud. And we want to make that possible. The real value at the end of the day that Tackle is providing to our customers is to strengthen their partnerships with these cloud providers and to turn each one of them into an effective sales channel.
And Dillon, so if you cutting the video off nailed your audio, so you are good. You are good to go.
Did it? Oh, good. Okay, perfect. Sorry you can't see me anymore, but I'm glad you can hear me well. So if you hit the next button there, so what we want to do in the product is to make it really easy to configure and set up your accounts on these different cloud providers, because it's not simple. You have to wade through a whole bunch of documentation just to figure out which programs out there exist, which ones you want to be in, how you set up your cloud accounts to take advantage of those. We want to make that push button simple. So you log into the Tackle product, you push a button. We can help you configure your account so that it's all set up, so you're enrolled in the correct programs, so that you're doing the right things. Of course, you don't have to use that. If you create your own connectivity to these cloud providers, that's great. Or if you've already figured out how to set up your account, that's fine too. But we want to make it simple for those who are getting started or those who are trying out things on a new cloud to get up and to get going and to get their accounts all set up the way that they need to be. Now, I think John said it, but in a cloud go-to-market, there's really the peanut butter and the jelly are co-sell and marketplace. Those are the 2 things that you have to really have an effective partnership with any of these 3 cloud providers. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. They're all doing things a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, these are the 2 things that you'll want to be doing, and these are the 2 main things that our product supports. So first on co-selling, we want to make it as easy as possible to register opportunities with the cloud providers, to get those opportunities accepted, and over time to increase the ratio of those co-sell opportunities that are being accepted, and then what that ultimately close through a cloud marketplace. Now, right now, the most successful ISVs have about 10 times more co-sell opportunities than they do marketplace deals. So not every co-sell opportunity results in a marketplace offer, and that's totally fine. Over time, we want to increase that ratio. We want to go from 1 in 10. We want to get that up to 1 in 5, and to go from there. We think at some point down the road, there will be a day where every opportunity that you're co-selling with a cloud provider will end up going through a marketplace. Not sure how far away that's going to be. Probably at least a couple of years. But we want to get all of our customers thinking about that and thinking about their strategies over time. Earlier, somebody in the chat said that often if you've identified that an ISV is a good fit for marketplace, but your buyer has never used marketplace before, then that can become kind of a blocker. And we see that too, absolutely. And that's why when we're creating our spin on marketplace offers, one of our main objectives is to make it as simple as possible for that buyer to accept. Because maybe it is their first time using marketplace. Maybe the company they work for has a big commitment with a cloud provider, but they personally haven't done it before. And so we want to make that really, really simple. We want to make it as easy for them as just going in and pushing the button. And then over time, we want to increase the traction that you're getting through co-sell and marketplace by using data. We've already rolled out a few great data products, and over time, we're going to even have more. I'm going to show you some examples here in a minute, but we want to help review your entire pipeline of all the opportunities that you have within Salesforce, and help you find opportunities that are a good fit for co-sell. Not just ones that are a good fit for co-sell, but we want to get specific. Which cloud? Which cloud is it a good fit for? And then of those, which ones are then a good fit for marketplace? Which ones are likely to close through the marketplace? We use a whole variety of data to make those decisions. And the decisions that we're creating can really complement some of the propensity scores that you're getting from other sources. If you're working and partnering closely with a cloud provider to get some of that data, that's great. It goes hand in hand with the data that we're providing to help you make the best decisions possible, and to put that data right in the hands of your sellers, so that they know as they're reviewing opportunities in Salesforce, which ones they should direct to which clouds, which ones for co-sell, which ones for marketplace. And if you hit the next button there, John, we want to create and focus on two different experiences within our product. We have our Tackle app, which a lot of people are familiar with, and then starting towards the end of last year, we actually rolled out a Salesforce app. So we want to make all of this functionality that we're creating, we want to make it available in both Salesforce and our traditional app, because we know that there are a whole bunch of different personas that use Tackle. So if you hit the next button there, you'll be able to see all of the different personas that we think about. And we know that some of these, they're going to want to use Salesforce. That's where they live. They don't want to learn a new application. They don't want to figure out how to log into Tackle. And that's fine. We want to give them access to all of the functionality that they need directly from within Salesforce. For other folks, Tackle is going to be a better fit. It's going to allow them to dig deeper into the data through our more traditional web app. It's going to allow them to do more bulk operations. Maybe they want to upload a whole list of deals at once. Maybe they want to work on a whole bunch of deals. Maybe a finance person wants to go back and see everything that's happened historically. And our web app is going to give them the best place to do some of those operations. But for a seller looking to close an individual deal, or for a sales manager who wants to look at performance over time, our Salesforce app is going to be the best place to do that. And then finally, we're rolling out a whole suite of services to help augment your existing teams. This is something that's been super successful with some of our biggest customers who are selling the most through marketplace. We've been able to help them implement co-sell strategies, operationalize co-sell strategies, and get deal support as they're going through these marketplace motions. You know, if a deal is tricky, if your buyer is struggling because they're not exactly sure what they need to do, you can get somebody from Tackle who's an expert on the phone, on video, to walk them through that process of what they need to do, or what you need to do to get that deal set up so that it will close. Starting today, our marketing team rolled out a new section of our website that gives you a lot more detail on these different services if you want to go take a look at that. But I'm super excited to put these out to more people, instead of just being for our biggest customers, making these now available to everybody. Thanks, Nicole. She just put a link in the chat if anybody wants to get more detail about those.
And Dillon, we had a couple of questions come in.
Sure.
Way, and one was around plans to expand CRM outside of Salesforce. It was a specific question around HubSpot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, we before we took the decision to work with Salesforce, we went and polled a lot of our customers to figure out what they were using. the overwhelming response that we got back was Salesforce. And so that's where we wanted to focus first. But we totally understand that not everybody's using Salesforce. A lot are using HubSpot. Some are using other things. And so we over time we want to increase our integrations and our connectivity to those other systems, roll out plugins to make that as easy as possible to create those workflows within other CRMs. But to start with, our main focus today is on Salesforce. We want to nail that experience. We want to make it as good as possible for our customers who are using Salesforce. And then down the road, we will get to some other systems like HubSpot.
Yeah, maybe one comment to complement that. But we've broken the experience down where there's a Tackle experience and a Salesforce experience. So even if you are using HubSpot, you should be able to get the majority of value, especially our customers who we have encountered who are using HubSpot are earlier in their journey. So they're not transacting at the hundreds or even thousands of deal a quarter scale yet. So I think there's an opportunity. We'd love your feedback as we go on that strategy. I think there's one other question around OCI, and maybe I answered it in chat, but we can answer it directly. I think we get a lot of questions about what other clouds we would support, and we definitely want those questions to continue. And not only at this event, but after the fact, Dillon and I are always all ears to talk about where you think your buyers want to buy. And ultimately, that's the question we ask. And then the other question we ask is, what percentage of the $755 billion of B2B software spend is going to be migrated to the cloud with those other marketplaces? And that's where things tend to fall down. I think there's a lot of people who are embarking on that marketplace journey, but haven't really nailed the incentives to be able to say, we expect billions of dollars to flow through the marketplaces over time. So we definitely want the feedback, but that's how we're currently prioritizing. And short term, just like Dillon said around Salesforce, we want to focus on really nailing the experience with AWS and Microsoft and GCP before we scale out to other emerging clouds. All right. I think that's
great. So that's the way that we think about our product internally. That's the way that we align the value streams of our product and engineering teams, so that we have teams working on all of the areas that I went over. So we always welcome customer feedback. We view ourselves as a customer-led product team. We want to build features that our customers want to use. So please, if you have ideas, suggestions, we would love to hear them. But next, what I'd love to do is to dig a little bit into a few features specifically that have either come out recently or are on their way to be shipped out soon. I'm biased, of course, but I'm really, really proud of all the work our product and engineering team has done over the last 6 months. They've really shipped a lot of software, and they've done an amazing job helping customers overcome some of the pain points that they've been struggling with. So it's really fun for me to be able to highlight some of the work that they've done. To start with, I want to talk a little bit about data that I mentioned. I want to show you what that actually looks like. So this is an example, a screenshot of buyer intent pipeline scoring. So what we've done here is to review an overall pipeline for a customer. We've ingested that. And then we've gone through and we've identified the likelihood of each and every one of those deals to go through different clouds. You can see the breakdown down below. So for specific deals, we can give you a high, medium, low score for each deal. And then up at the top, we can give you a summary of all the deals. This is within our Tackle application. So this is really maybe for that alliance manager who's trying to build a campaign with one of these clouds. To get traction, the first thing that one of these clouds is going to ask is, well, how many deals are you going to do this year? And without this kind of visibility, it's almost impossible to answer that question. You can make some kind of a rough estimate, more of a guess, a gut feeling. But with Tackle, we're giving you some actual data so that you can go into that cloud provider conversation and you can say, hey, here's exactly how many deals in our pipeline that I think I could push through your cloud if I had better support, if you were able to assist me in co-selling some of these deals. We also want to give this data to a sales manager so that they can streamline where these deals are going.
So if it's a deal that's highly likely to close through a certain cloud, they can send it to a sales specialist who specializes in selling through that cloud, who's done it before, so that they can have more effective sales campaigns. If you go to the next slide, John, what we want to do is to show you a view of the same data, but now in Salesforce. So this is a little bit of a different persona. Maybe this is the seller individually who's looking through all of their accounts and wants to get this data. Again, they don't really want to log into Tackle. Maybe they don't even know how to log into Tackle, but we want to put that data right in their hands, right where they are, so that they can see for the deals that they're working on exactly which ones should go where. We'll in a little bit we'll show you how that seller is able to take action on this deal. So not only do they know, but now we want to give them the ability to automatically co-sell that or to automatically put it through a marketplace. But more on that in a second. First, if you go to the next slide, John, what I really want to do is to hear a little bit from one of our customers. I want to hear from Kristen. She's the global partner director over at Iron Mountain, and she's done a really tremendous job of making Cloud Go-to-Market a company-wide initiative over at Iron Mountain. So go ahead and hit play here, John.
Iron Mountain is in the early phases of leveraging cloud marketplaces. Our digitization and cloud transformation journey has been shaped by our customer needs. We are learning the global cloud marketplaces help our customers drive their top initiatives and stay focused on their core business. We also know our customers invest into commit spend agreements for modernization and transformation initiatives and have enterprise discount programs, which brings our customers improved cost. Currently, our sales team uses Tackle Prospect as a tool to identify if an organization is actively buying in cloud marketplace. And then we use the scoring results to target customers more effectively. Giving our sales teams insights to the propensity to buy for their accounts was very welcomed. Teams use the scoring like a heat map, providing them knowledge to actively transacting customers and the ability to reach a global audience. Tackle Prospect was greatly embraced by our sales organization. While Iron Mountain is just getting started in leveraging cloud marketplaces, we've seen an acceleration in our go-to-market activity. Sales teams gain those immediate insights, helping them drive a more targeted approach into the account. It also accelerated our co-selling activities. We see a great value in partnering with the cloud providers, with the number one reason that it brings more value to our customers when we're aligned with the cloud provider and complement the customer's cloud strategy. Iron Mountain also positions vertically with our customer industry segments. Tackle Prospect helps position marketing teams with targeted outreach and campaigns focused on accelerating cloud transformation with Iron Mountain digitization and SaaS offerings.
And that was awesome to see. I mean, Kristen said it much better than I could. I'm so glad to see that the success that they're having there. Before we move on, there was a quick question in the chat that was about where does this data come from? And that's a great question. Where it comes from is that internally, Tackle has built several machine learning models that leverage data that we collect, along with a set of public data, along with data that comes from third-party sources, to create some really sophisticated models to help us give you that data. So the data comes from a variety of different sources. Next, I want to really dig into our co-sell integration and to talk a little bit about what that exactly means. So this is taking action. So previously, you saw how we are able to show you which deals are likely to be good candidates for co-sell with specific clouds. But then your seller needs to do something about that, to go out and submit it for review in a cloud. And there's a couple really distinct and different ways that ISVs engage in co-sell. One is what I'm showing you here. This is the way that a seller would do it on an opportunity by opportunity basis. But there's another workflow that more like an alliance manager would use, where they're operating in bulk. They're uploading a list at a time. They're trying to create a campaign in tandem with the cloud provider to go after a segment or a set of accounts. And so that's supported as well. Those are the two workflows that we think about when we're thinking about co-sell. This is an example here of how you can use our Salesforce app to register a specific deal with ACE. And ACE is AWS's partner portal. That's what they use. So you would come in open up your opportunity, you would have a button within that opportunity to register the deal for co-sell. Not only do we want to help you register that deal, but we want to make recommendations about the best way to set up that deal so that it will be accepted by the cloud provider. Acceptance is a really key criteria. If you just go out and try to register all of your deals, you're going to overwhelm that cloud provider and they're just going to start denying all of them. We want to pick out the highest quality deals, and we want to give the cloud provider the information they need to make a good decision about why they should help you co-sell this deal. So we do all of that at the time of submission. Customers who use Tackle see their overall acceptance percentage go up dramatically by using this system and by using our best practices. This is an example of using ACE for AWS. But if you go to the next slide, John, what we're going to see is exactly the same thing, but with Partner Center. Partner Center is Microsoft's equivalent. These systems are similar, but very, very different. Within Tackle, we have workflows for both that take advantage of the strengths of both and that set these deals up in the way that those specific cloud providers want to see. We've spent a lot of time talking to them about what do they want to see when a co-sell opportunity is submitted? What are the criteria that are important to them? And so while these workflows look similar, we've done a lot of work on our side to make them look similar. On the back end, they're very, very different. The AWS is available to all customers today. It's been GA for a while now. Our Partner Center support is in beta with a set of customers who are doing a very high volume of co-sell with Microsoft. If you're interested in being within that beta, please let us know. We're looking for customers who want to try that out. And on the next slide, John, what I'm really excited to share with everybody today is that our integration for GCP is on the way. This is a coming soon feature, something that we are testing out. Also in this screenshot, what I wanted to highlight was more of that bulk operation. So here in this example, we're uploading an entire list of opportunities at once to Google through the Tackle interface now instead of through Salesforce. So both of those actions are supported in both of our interfaces. Again, for a little bit of that different persona, depending on who you are within your company and what you're trying to achieve. We have workflows that meet that. So if you're interested in GCP, let us know. When that beta opens up and becomes available, we can try to get you in. But I'm really excited about this because it's going to give us parity across all three of the clouds for co-sell, all of our co-sell operations supported through all three clouds. Really, really proud of the team for getting that done. And now next, we want to hear from Mitch. He's over at Splunk, and he is leading the change within Splunk. They've been a marketplace seller for a long time, but what he's doing is to help modernize their marketplace operations. So to take it from where they're just doing one-off deals and doing whatever it takes to get a deal closed to streamlining it and making it something that is very repeatable over and over there at Splunk. So go ahead, John.
The growth we've observed with adding Tackle to the Splunk Marketplace program has been astounding. Our team has been able to process more requests, if you will, through the marketplace since the addition of Tackle than what we were able to before. So Splunk is leveraging the Tackle Salesforce application to allow our sales makers to directly input the information necessary so that when they process an application through to my operations team, we're able to capture the information from the opportunity in our Salesforce and input that directly into the portal, saving us a lot of time and effort in not having to copy and paste everything into the system one piece of information at a time. The results we've seen from leveraging the Tackle and Salesforce integration, we've been able to automate, we've been able to accelerate, and we've been able to remove duplications. In all honesty, the acceleration, we're able to do applications through Marketplace on order of 5 times faster than we could before. Acceleration, again, is that speed. We can go from a request from our sales makers to a private offer in the hands of the customer in minutes from the point of request. And duplication reduction, no longer do we see the volume of duplicate requests coming to us where customers are asking the sales maker to get them a private offer. Sales maker puts it into my team for request, and then because my team hasn't had a chance to process it yet, the sales maker puts in another request for another private offer, thereby duplicating the number of requests coming to us. So just by integrating the Tackle Salesforce application, we've been able to see those realizations and those results. I would say, honestly, if there is anything out there that's holding you back from implementing Tackle, take the plunge. You will see the results that are there, and leveraging the Tackle API and do the Salesforce integration. Take the time, write your questions, get your answers, and take the initiative, because this product does work. It does increase your efficiencies, and the Tackle team has been absolutely outstanding in working with us in support and in guiding us through the process from start to finish.
So thanks so much to Mitch for providing us with that video. That an awesome testimonial from Splunk, who's having tremendous success out there through the marketplace. There were a couple of related questions that came in through the chat that I want to address really quick. One was if there's any recommendations or statistics about whether the reg process should be with sales reps or in bulk with the alliance managers. And then sort of related, there was one about that we should be selective in submitting co-sell opportunities. Do we have any guidance or best practices on how to do that? And the reason that I think that those are related is because they both deal with the best practices around co-sell. We think that there's a place for both the seller submitting individual deals and the alliance manager working in bulk. Oftentimes, we want to empower the sales rep themselves to submit a deal when they think it's appropriate, because honestly, if that deal is accepted, it's going to move to sort of an offline process where what might happen next is that sales rep is actually going to get on the phone, call their counterpart over at AWS, and have a conversation about that deal. And that's really, really powerful. We don't want to put anything in between that happening. We don't want to have somebody who's preventing that offline connection from being made and from that going forward. But in order for that to work, there does have to be training. Your sales reps have to understand when to push that button, how to push that button, or when they shouldn't push that button, maybe more importantly. And so we offer a lot of guidance around that. Some of the services that I outlined before are specifically geared towards helping teach your team those best practices so that we could join a sales QBR, for example, and give the team a breakdown of what they should do, when they should do it. Same for the other question about being selective. We want to help make that happen. And for some groups, for some customers, we offer a full managed service around being the deal desk that helps submit those offers and to help be that gatekeeper of finding good opportunities and working directly with the cloud provider. If you want that level of service, it can be available from Tackle.
Yeah, I think on an earlier slide, I had co-sell is an art and a science. And I think these two questions reflect the art side. And it's a bit of, what is your strategy for the clouds and how do you plan to go to market with them? And then aligning your co-sell and marketplace strategy to that. And I think we definitely, as a follow up with your Tackle. If you're partnering with anyone to Tackle, follow up with them and we could dive deeper into your specifics to help you dissect both the art and science.
Yeah. And Kate put a great comment in the chat that coming up next, we're going to have Erin Feiger, who's going to be our VP. She is our VP of co-sell, but she's going to be doing a session just about this. And really, honestly, she's one of the most knowledgeable people in the world about best practices for co-sell. And you should definitely listen to her talk and connect with her if you want to learn more about that.
Yeah, second to that. And Erin was the founder of a company called Core Consulting. Tackle and Core came together last year because, our number one culture value, it starts with customer, and we continue to run into each other at our customers, and our customers would say, hey, you're both approaching the same problem from two different sides. It seems like it's so complementary. And over the years, we ended up working to be very aligned on our vision and strategy for the market to the point where we came together. So thankful. Erin knows more about co-sell than honestly anyone in the world that I've ever met. And so thankful for her and the team joining us at Tackle and helping us evolve our co-sell strategy.
Absolutely. And next, I'd like to talk about a special case of marketplace deal that is that's when a channel partner is involved. So sometimes you're just dealing with you, the buyer, and the cloud provider. And we've supported that for a long, long time. But what we're seeing now is that more and more often, a channel partner is also involved in the deal. And so the offer process, the offer through the marketplace gets a bit more complex because now you have another party. At AWS, they've created a special process for channel partner deals called CPPO that enables this and makes it happen. So that's been available for a while, and it's seeing more and more adoption within the market. But what we found is a few specific problems that made it kind of difficult to issue these deals, to work with the channel partners, and to get them to do what they need to do to have one of these deals accepted. And so we've recently teamed up with the engineering team at AWS to solve a specific problem that some folks were having around the reseller authorization. So before you can issue, or your channel partner can issue a private offer, they have to be authorized to do that on a deal by deal basis. And that process was getting it could get a little bit tedious if you were doing this at scale. So our engineering team worked with the engineering team over at AWS and was able to come up with a solution to make this process easier for some of our customers. So we've rolled this out now for AWS. You can see now you have the option of creating either a direct private offer or a partner private offer. We make that really easy, and we make it a coming soon. It's going to be available from Salesforce as well as within the Tackle platform. So if anybody from AWS is listening, thank you very much for partnering with us on that. I know it's solved a lot of customer pain points, and I know that this is going to be a bigger and bigger way that all ISVs transact through Marketplace over time. And again, this is AWS. Down the road, we will also do this for Microsoft and GCP, but just getting started in this. And to hear a little bit more about that, I'd like to see a video from Trish. She's the head of worldwide alliances over at Wiz, and Wiz is super interesting because they got started with their sales strategy by focusing 100% on partner, marketplace, and co-sell, taking a marketplace first approach to sales. Over time, they've expanded beyond that, but that's how they really saw the rapid growth that Wiz is known for. What's really interesting is they took a big leap and launched on all three marketplaces at once. Usually we see ISVs start with one marketplace and then expand, but they had a lot of success going with a little bit of a different strategy where they went out and launched on all three at once. So excited to hear from Trish.
Quick overview of our Wiz cloud go-to-market strategy. When I met with our channel ops leader when I first started, I told her we were going to launch in all three marketplaces in 90 days, and she told me I was out of my mind. 18 months later, after we went to 100 million in revenue faster than any other company in history, when we looked back at it, that was instrumental to that journey. The biggest challenge is we weren't a funded line item on anyone's budget, so marketplaces gave us access to funding. Our first marketplace deal was actually a CPPO transaction, which was literally the only transaction type that we hadn't prepared for. But I needed a platform that was going to support this motion. To me, the biggest value of Tackle is being able to, facilitate these really what end up being complicated transactions between organizations. And I didn't want to have to leave at my single source of truth to go outside of the platform and create opportunities. We made the decision this year to become a 100% channel company. What that practically meant for our business is they're a tremendous source of our pipeline. They're an extension of our sales force. And now as we're scaling and growing, it's becoming even more instrumental because our partners and our channel partners in particular have thousands of resources, and they're their customers' trusted advisors. We've seen so many results from being able to leverage Tackle offers with our channel partner private offers. The first, of course, is always going to be visibility. Having our sellers be able to understand where we are in the process with an offer is just helpful and reassuring to them. They're not just putting an offer into the void and hoping that a customer accepts it. But the other thing I think I'd say too that was hugely instrumental, our first transaction was a CPPO transaction. We did not have, at the time, Tackle didn't support it because the APIs weren't available. And luckily it was in the middle of the quarter and it only booked outside of the month. But that was one of the really big stressors for us, was making sure that we were going to be able to book these critical types of transactions predictably, so we can educate and make sure our field was aware. But without Tackle, like I said, we had to book it outside of the month. When we had Tackle, obviously we don't have that problem anymore, which was great.
Yeah, Trish has done a really amazing job in that more and more ISVs are using that channel strategy in conjunction with marketplace and seeing so much success. So excited to talk more about that with anybody who's interested in learning more. Somebody talked about somebody in the chat asked if we had any information about the ratios of successful deal registrations with those co-sell deal registrations. What that's we kind of measure that on an ISV by ISV basis. When we get started, we can go in and measure what you're currently at, and sometimes honestly those aren't that great. We see a pretty low acceptance ratio. But over time, what we want to do to show our success and our value with you is to show you that goes up. After you start using Tackle, you should see ratios that get much better. We think about it in terms of a baseball analogy. We want to improve your batting average with the clouds. We want those more and more of the deals that you submit to be accepted, and also over time, we want to give you more and more at bats. So we're not just going to go in and say, well, just don't submit a bunch of deals. What we want to do is to again help you select the highest quality deals, to sometimes do those in big groups, and to get your batting average up, and to get you more and more at bats. Last thing here that I wanted to talk about is a dashboard that we've already started rolling out to new customers to help show the success and the value of Tackle. A lot of times ISVs will ask, like, hey, how do I know that this whole thing is working? How do I know that I'm getting a return on investment from Tackle or from my cloud strategy in general? And the way that we answer that is in as simple as possible with seller productivity. If it's working, your sellers will become more productive and more efficient, and we want to help you measure that, and we want to show it to you. So over time on our dashboard, you'll be able to see how your sellers are closing more deals, closing those deals faster, that those deals are becoming larger, and that over time your cloud strategy is becoming a bigger and bigger part of your overall go-to-market strategy. We want this to be a tool that can be used by our CEOs within Tackle. I want John to be looking at this to see how we're doing over time. I want our CRO to be looking at this every day to be able to measure their team and measure the impact to these different cloud relationships. I want the alliance managers to have this data at their fingertips so that they can go back when they're having conversations with the clouds and have really structured, data-driven conversations about what they're seeing, what their goals are, and what they need to do to close those gaps. So this is a very actionable dashboard. It's already being rolled out to many customers soon. Everybody should have access to it. But again, would love any feedback or suggestions as you start seeing it about how we can make it more evident that sales productivity is increasing for your team over time, because that's our goal at Tackle. That's what we want to achieve. So, we only have a couple more minutes for questions. We need to end at about 10 after, but John and I are both going to join the lounge after this. If anybody wants to jump over and ask questions or talk more directly, we'll be there. Let's see. Checking the chat here to see if we had any other questions that we could answer. Did you see any, John?
And there was one earlier about GDPR and data. I didn't.
Yeah, so data privacy, obviously a big deal for everybody. The way that you're segmenting your data across regions, across countries, we want to support that as cloud providers roll out internationalization initiatives and make it possible to have data, marketplace data living in different places. That's something that I'd say is pretty early for everybody, for Tackle, for the cloud providers, for ISVs. But as that story evolves, we will be right there with the cloud providers, right on their heels, supporting that.
Yeah, maybe while there's any other last questions that roll in while we wind down our last minute, I just wanted to, again, say thank you to you all for joining. This is an exciting day, and Dillon and I are both super passionate about cloud go-to-market and love learning with you all. It's been an amazing learning journey over the last 7 years, and we're excited to see all that is to come. Join us in the lounge. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to all the speakers for sharing their stories. And please, if you have a story you want to share, reach out. We'd love to help you share it, because there's so much it's kind of alone you can go fast, together you can go far. And I think as an ecosystem together, we can go so much further to bring cloud go-to-market to life.
Yep.
See ya in the lounge. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. See ya.